Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, an eggcellent scavenger hunt returns to the resort, new hotel deals for the spring.
Good news for Matterhorn macaroon fans. We continue our conversation with Les about his time as a Walt Disney World VIP tour guide and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the DL Weekly podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. If this is your first time listening, we hope you'll check out our website at DLWeekly.net. If you have more time to spend, becoming an official weekly tier at DLWeekly.net/support is an especially good value. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable listen to this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of February 26, 2025. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm producer Vern.
He is filling in for Tag because Tag, James, and their exchange student, Alex, are all currently enjoying the week at the Disneyland Resort, of course, in beautiful, sunshiny Anaheim, California. So we hope that they're having a wonderful time. Well, we would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we would like to give a special shout out to Vanessa S. for joining our Patreon. If you would like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, and a bunch of other fun perks, head on over to dlweekly.net/support to become an official weekly tier.
And now, let's get to the news.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
Well, mark your calendars. The Eggstravaganza returns on March 21st. This whimsical egg hunt takes place across the Disneyland Resort. Guests can purchase a map for $9.99 plus tax at select merchandise locations. There will be 3 separate maps, one for Disneyland Park, one for Disney California Adventure, and one for the Downtown Disney District. Once you have finished the hunt, you can redeem a very fun prize. This year, the prizes are a selection of wooden character eggs that come with little paints so you can paint and decorate them yourselves.
Very cool. I love when they do these types of things where it's, more than just going to the park, but actually really get an interactive, and you can, do something as the whole family and, just go out and have some more fun. And looking at these, they are so cute. They're the different characters, and get to take it home and paint it up yourself.
They are very cute. However, my one sadness about this is they used to be able to pick little plastic Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember reporting on that.
Were then themed to different characters, and each year it was different. So I'm a little sad that they've done away with the little Easter egg characters. And they used to be able to they'd have a theme set each year. One year it was the Haunted Mansion, and so it was a set of 3. It was the 3 Hitchhiking Ghosts. I remember another year was It's a Small World themed. But yeah, it was super fun. This is something that I've gotten to do a couple of times during our trips, and all of these little scavenger hunt things, you all know I'm a fan. They're just so fun.
Yes. Oh, totally.
And the cool thing too is if you don't really care about the quote unquote prize at the end, these things are all hidden within public view. So it's not like this is something that you have to purchase the little map thing for. The map gives you hints, and it kind of has a little, you can kind of check off which ones you found. But if you just want a fun activity and you don't want to pay the cost to do it officially, you can still join in on the hunt unofficially and just keep your eyes open for all these fun, cute character decorated eggs.
Yeah, and also very cool that they're doing it in Downtown Disney, so you don't necessarily have to be in the parks. And, if you don't want to spend the money of going into the park, just go down to Downtown Disney and you can still have fun.
Exactly.
Well, new hotel offers for guests staying at Disneyland Resort hotels have been announced for this spring. The offer is available Sunday through Thursday nights for stays during March 23rd through May 15th. Discounts range from up to 15% off Disneyland Hotel and up to 20% off at the Grand Californian Hotel or the Villas at Disneyland Hotel.
And speaking of hotel discounts, Disney Visa card members can save up to 30% on select premium rooms at the Disneyland Resort hotels. This offer is also valid March 23rd through May 15th. Select rooms are at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, as well as the villas at the Disneyland Hotel. This offer, though, has to be booked through the Disney Rewards website or by calling 1-844-604-0201. Again, we will have notes in our show notes if you would like to take advantage of these wonderful offers. Or as always, be sure to contact our friends over at Concierge, and they can help hook you up and make sure you get these great deals and the best possible rates that you can find.
That's very cool.
And it's for quite a while. March,
Yeah.
end of March, but all of April and then part of May. So there's tons of fun stuff, as we will be talking later. But like Food and Wine Festival is happening starting this weekend. Plus, it's just a beautiful time to be at the resort because you've got all of the spring flowers are in bloom. You can do the egg hunt that we just talked about. What's not to love?
Oh, and for many families, that's including your spring break times. So, or
That's
if you've got a kid with if you've got like an older kid in high school who's got their graduation coming up, it's good to feel a graduation present. I mean, the timing that they're putting that 6-week chunk into is absolutely perfect.
That's a great point.
And anytime that I talk to friends, coworkers, and I say that we go to Disneyland as frequently as we do, first words they say is, "Wow, how can you afford that?" This is a great opportunity for people to take advantage of to kind of knock down the prices a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, changes are coming to the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Visitors will now be able to purchase the Skip the Line service 7 days ahead of their park visit. This has been extended from just 2 days before the visit.
So this is the only change with any of the Lightning Lane things we've got. Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, individual Lightning Lanes, and then the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Again, Lightning Lane Premier Pass gives you, it is the most expensive option, but it gives you access to all of the Lightning Lane attractions without having to actually book a time slot. So you can just show up, scan your Lightning Lane, ride the attraction. You only get to do this once per attraction, though. So it's not get on and ride the Haunted Mansion back to back to back to back to back and always skip the line sort of a pass. It's just one per day per use of this pass. So yeah, that's kind of nice because they do sell a limited number of these premier passes. So it is nice that you can have a little bit more of a head start to book the premier pass if that's something that you're interested in. 7 days though still seems like a small window of time before your trip. I'm surprised it doesn't open earlier than that, but I'm sure there's a method to the madness of why specifically it's 7 days. But yeah, we just wanted to pass that along in case anybody was interested in the service, that you've got a little extra time to go ahead and book that. Well, a Main Street USA favorite is set to return soon. According to the Disneyland calendar, the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe will reopen on March 22nd. The day before you could use your Disneyland Resort Hotel offers.
Which,
coincidence? Maybe.
Or was it perfect planning?
Or was it perfectly planned? Yeah. So those of you that have been missing the things like the Jolly Holiday Combo, which you can only get at the Jolly Holiday, have no fear. Around the corner, you'll be able to go enjoy those delicious drinks and eats at the Jolly Holiday Cafe. It has been closed now. I'm trying to think when they closed. It's been a while. It feels like it's been a couple of months at this point. So it'll be a welcome sight. It did have a very lengthy, from the look of it, for sure, exterior refurbishment. I'm sure once it's open again, we might be able to see if there was anything done inside. Perhaps they took the time to do some kitchen refurbs, but for sure the biggest, most obvious change is that they are refreshing the exterior, which I'm sure is going to look beautiful.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is exactly where you can find that world famous Matterhorn macaroon. Right?
It is. Mm-hmm. The cool thing is, though, they temporarily moved a couple of the Jolly Holiday favorites over to Coke Corner.
Okay.
And one of the things that you could temporarily get at Coke Corner was the Matterhorn macaroon.
Oh, very nice.
Not the Jolly Holiday Combo. So Tag was a little disappointed that he was not going to be able to have his grilled cheese and tomato soup on Main Street from Jolly Holiday during this trip because it is still closed. But I told him there's plenty of other delicious things to try and eat around the resort. He won't go hungry, for sure.
Yeah. Well, the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival kicks off this weekend. Along with the delicious eats around the park and downtown Disney, there are a ton of other fun activities like artist signings, culinary demonstrations, and live music. Check out the link in our show notes to get more information.
So, as much as I would love to go through these lists with everyone, it would take a really long time because there's a ton of stuff going on. So, artist signings, we'll start with that. The artist signings are going to be available each Saturday and Sunday during the festival. And the times and locations include, of course, the Wonderground Gallery in downtown Disney, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then Off the Page in Hollywoodland over in Disney California Adventure from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So again, Saturdays and Sundays are when the artist signings will be available. We have a link in our show notes, but there are a ton of names that I recognize, people that are quite famous in the Disney fine art scene. So definitely, if you are going to be visiting the resorts during this time, check out the link. Go say hi to these folks. They're so nice. We've been able to meet a couple of them during other events around the resort. And you can, even if you're not like a big art person or a big art collector, take a moment and go inside these locations just to look and appreciate the pieces of art on the wall. The other thing that I love is you can buy postcard size versions of this artwork. So much easier to travel. And if you're like me and you just love all of the art, but you only have so much space on your walls, these little postcards are perfect because, again, more compact. Each time that we've gone, the artists are more than willing to sign those as well. They will also sign, the larger prints, or if you are someone that's able to purchase one of their original pieces, they of course will sign that too. But they do not shy away from, it doesn't matter what size or what dollar amount you spend on their art. They are just so happy and appreciative for everyone that comes by. So please go check that out. So
and
again,
I can even attest to that.
You can, yeah.
No, there was the one that I forget which you were in, but I went over to.
You went and visited Ryan Riller, who does this really incredible paper cutting artwork, which I follow him on Instagram. I need to kind of dig through his Instagram. I think I would go down a crazy rabbit hole if he had like time lapses of himself cutting and putting all these different pieces together, because it's not just the cutting, it's the layering and it's the prep work of anyways, it's this whole incredible process that it just takes hours and hours and hours. So it would be fascinating to kind of see it condensed down. And then I was visiting with Joey Chu, who does an adorable little cute artwork. We saw both of them. They were doing a signing for Pride Night when we were there last week. But we were there last year. So really, really fun. Both were super, super kind. So again,
Ryan
highly
was
recommend.
the most down to earth, and he was so honored that I was there to buy his stuff and get his autograph. And I was so honored that he took the 3 minutes to sit and chat with me. And I mean, just the most humble, cool, down to earth guy. And if he's a representative of what these artists are like, take some time, go visit them. They're super cool.
So another thing that you can experience during the Food and Wine Festival is culinary demonstrations. I, again, cannot go through the list of everything that's here, but there's all sorts of folks here that I'm looking at that are Disney chefs that are going to be showing off their craft and kind of talking and discussing their stuff. It starts Saturday, March 1st. It looks like it's primarily Saturdays and Sundays again, all the way through Sunday, April 20th.
There's also the visiting chef demonstration schedule that's starting on Saturday, March 1st and going all the way through to Sunday, April 20th. Various visiting chefs coming through and just showing you the cool things that they can make. Okay,
just from reading this real quick, I'm seeing, if you're a TV person, I'm seeing words on here like Master Chef Season 6 winner, or Hell's Kitchen, and Master Chef Season 7 winner. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Radio host has come out to me. I mean, there's all sorts of different titles in there. Food Network.
Yep. Yeah. Super cool. There's also festival sponsors demonstrations that will be happening. So a couple that I'll just quickly read through. Impossible Foods will be there on Saturday, March 22nd and Sunday, March 23rd. I know that would be something you'd be interested in.
Joffrey's Coffee. We've got a cabinet full of that.
Oh, that'd be so fun. Dang. Okay. And also, look at this. This is fun. Cooking with Tahine. And that's going to be with Disneyland Resort chef Daniel Romo. And then also just Disney Vacation Club chef, National Geographic, all sorts of, again, just incredible cool stuff. So if you are kind of going to be at the parks looking for something more than just what you could expect in a normal park visit. So something outside of attractions and the entertainment offerings that you can do and experience at any time. This would be a great list to kind of look through, especially if you're going to be at the parks during this time. If you go to any of these events, please write in, tell us what you think. I think they all sound incredible.
I am Groot.
What do you mean you're hungry? Kraglin needs those pots for the rehydrator. We don't have time for snacks.
I am Groot.
Were you talking to Tag and Teresa again? How'd they even get a hold of you?
I am Groot.
Fine. One snack. That's it.
I am Groot.
No, I haven't seen any churros. You gotta talk to Vern. And stop smiling.
Well, for this week's Snack Chat, we have another foodie guide. Woo! I know that Tag and Olivia went through all sorts of food with everyone last week. But this week, Vern and I get to discuss Disneyland After Dark 90s night. Now, I was
very nice.
Going back and forth on whether or not we should talk about this because 90s night is a separate ticketed event. But these offerings, look, there's a ton of offerings that have been released on the Disney Eats Instagram page, including a new popcorn bucket.
Very cool.
This popcorn bucket. Okay, we'll start with the popcorn bucket because how can we not? Did you watch a Goofy movie?
You and I.
Do we need to divorce?
We are just different enough in age that I missed out on Goofy movie.
A Goofy movie holds a very special place in my heart.
I know it does. We've had this discussion
that movie
before,
growing up.
but
so the popcorn bucket is very fitting. It is Powerline Max. So Powerline,
I have no idea
is
who
like
this is.
the main pop star or whatever of a Goofy movie, like
sure.
in a Goofy movie, and the opening, one of the opening scenes is Max kind of impersonating Powerline for like he takes over a school assembly.
Max is related to Goofy.
Max is Goofy's son.
Goofy has a son?
We have a lot. Okay.
I never knew Goofy was married.
We're watching a Goofy movie.
Goofy's married?
Goofy is a single dad, Vern. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're watching a Goofy movie. If not tonight, for sure this weekend. I need to fix this.
Okay.
All of this.
All right. I have a feeling we're going to get some very angry
now I'm
emails.
so sad and let down that you don't know these things. Who invited you to guest host? Oh, that was me.
That was you.
Well, moving on to the food. I know you'll be excited about that.
I'm sorry I was born too early.
Shaking my head. That's okay. If James would understand.
So
James would understand.
Tag and I are the same age, and you and James are the youngins, and both
James would understand.
Tag and I would just be looking at each other like, yeah, we're the old men, and we just don't know.
James would understand.
Yes. But let's talk about this fried apple pie sundae because that looks delicious.
You know, it's wild. So when you think fried apple pie sundae, I did not picture what they have pictured here, but it's perfect. Well, it's Disney's own version of the fried apple pie that they used to serve at McDonald's
back in the 90s.
Yep.
So when you're saying that it's 90s night and then you say fried apple pie, I'm like, yes, of course, that's exactly what it should be. Now, if that was supposed to be like apple pie of the 1950s, no, that would be terrible. But yeah, no, that's the perfect way to describe it. It is the McDonald's mid-90s fried apple pie with a big old scoop of vanilla ice cream and some whipped cream and caramel drizzle. Oh, so good.
We've got a couple of drinks that, of course, if we were going to be there, I would definitely be trying. We have the After School Fruit Punch, which is available at the Little Red Wagon, which has apple juice with pineapple and cherry flavors served with a themed glow cube. Very fun.
Very cute.
There's also the Lemon Lime Punch at Galactic Grill and at Red Rose Tavern, which is Powerade and Sprite, topped with creamy mango, like that foam topping stuff.
Okay.
I'm curious. Okay, for sure. The After School Punch sounds delicious. I'm a little curious about the lemon lime punch with the Sprite, Powerade, and creamy mango flavors all mixing together. So I'm curious about that, but not like I think it's going to be not good curious. I'm curious, like, I don't know what that what that combination is, but I want to know what that combination is.
With the lemon lime punch, I feel like the flavor they are pulling off with that may end up being reminiscent of Surge, which is distinctly 90s.
Sure.
But the color is blue, and
the color's
Surge
blue.
is radioactive green.
That's okay. That's because of the Powerade. It's blue
Well, I
Powerade.
know, but I feel like they really missed an opportunity there. Anyway, we do also have the chicken, bacon, cheesy garlic pretzel bread at Edelweiss Snacks and more Reese's Treats.
Have you tried the cheesy garlic pretzel bread yet?
I feel like I have. Big question mark on that sentence.
I don't know if you have. It's one of those things that I don't know how we didn't have you try it when we were there in June, but maybe we didn't have you try it when we were there last.
No, it rings a bell.
But it's also so delicious that I'm concerned that you don't really remember it.
But I also eat every single
that's true.
snack.
That's true. You dip it in like a marinara sauce.
No,
so
okay.
good.
No, that sounds right.
This, I love this because it had been a hack on the internet for quite some time to go get a cheesy garlic pretzel bread, take it over to Bengal Barbecue, get a meat skewer, and basically build yourself a sandwich. So they are doing that.
Yeah, no,
so they're doing that. So but again, it's chicken and bacon on this, but it looks, just that pretzel bread alone is good. The one thing I will say that when Tag and I tried it, if you go back to that episode, it was a little like too savory for us because we had the savory meat. Mainly it was the savory sauce that was on the Bengal barbecue skewer mixed with like the savoriness of the cheesy garlic.
Sure.
Flavors. It was too savory. Still good, but like a little bit too savory. This might be better. It might, like the chicken might be a better combo with the flavors.
A little lighter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's also loaded taco fries at the Galactic Grill. Crinkle cut fries topped with refried beans, seasoned ground beef, spiced cheese sauce, shredded lettuce, tomato, olives, green onions, and a sour cream drizzle.
Very nice.
Yes. This is fun.
Chicken and funnel cake at the Stage Door Cafe. Funnel cake with chicken tenders and whipped syrup with powdered sugar and whipped cream.
Oh, and it's a funnel cake topped with chicken tenders.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a spin on chicken and waffles.
Yep.
We also have a crunchy taco over at Riverbell Terrace.
That
it's
looks
ground
good.
Beef and jalapeno cheese sauce over crispy tortilla chips with pico de gallo.
Mm-hmm.
Yum. It's almost like an open face again. Sorry, we're using fast food brand names here, but looks kind of and sounds reminiscent of like an open face crunch wrap from Taco Bell.
Yeah. Or like if they made a crunch wrap with a chalupa, because it's got that flaky crust going on inside. Yeah, and the chalupa came out in the 90s.
Maybe it's all related.
Yeah, I'm just saying. There's also the orange glazed chicken bowl at Bengal Barbecue. That's a glazed fried rice with scallions and orange sauce.
This looks really, really good.
It does, yeah.
Really good. The one that out of everything that I'm scratching my head and I would try it, but I'm a little like, about is this last one, the Monte Cristo pizza, which you can get at Cafe Orleans. It is a pastry puff with house-made blueberry thyme jam, rosemary ham, turkey breast, Gruyere, brie, and Swiss cheese. But it's made like a flatbread instead of a Monte Cristo like sandwich.
Yeah.
And I just don't know because the puff
that's
pastry,
just right. No, that's...
But part of what, so Monte Cristo's deep fried.
Yeah.
The puff pastry wouldn't be. So you wouldn't have that, crunchy softness of the bread.
I'm thinking they fried the pastry. Look at that picture.
Maybe.
Look at the browning on that and the crisp of those edges. I think they fried the puff pastry.
I could see this maybe being a little soggy, though. So if it's baked.
Sure.
So I'm curious.
The thyme and the jam and the rosemary of the ham, which I did not mean to rhyme that. I feel it's going to be just the right savory versus sweet going on. That I'm excited.
Okay.
I think that's good stuff.
I need to go on topic but off topic. I was just scrolling through the comments on Instagram. This person handles musical pencil. Again, speaking to my goofy movie Love and Heart. Their comment was, I was half expecting something with a tower of cheese. You
Wait,
would understand that.
Isn't there a
It's the
character?
Leaning Tower of
And he's voiced by
Pisa.
Pauly Shore.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I have
Voiced by
seen
Pauly
that
Shore.
clip. Yeah.
Yes. That would have been
Leaning
amazing.
Tower of Pisa.
That would have. That's.
So I'm familiar with
I
that
love
clip and that character because I'm a big Pauly Shore fan.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah. See, look, there he is being Powerline in the comments. Oh, we need to go watch this movie. Okay. Anyways, that wraps up Snack Chat. So if we didn't either make you hungry or nostalgic or curious about a Goofy movie, we did not do our job here.
And please don't send me hate mail that I haven't seen the movie.
There's probably many, many listeners that also have not known the joy that is a Goofy movie. And maybe we've inspired them to also go watch it.
We could host a watch party.
There you go.
That
host a
sounds
watch party.
delightful.
We need to right the wrongs. Well, you've heard us talk about our great and wonderful experiences at the Howard Johnson in Anaheim, right across the street there from Disneyland. Well, we wanted to let you all know that we have teamed up with them and they've got a really amazing deal going on right now. You can get up to 25% off your next stay at the Howard Johnson. The 25% discount is good for when you book 3 or more nights. Book by May 31st to get this great deal. So if you don't take advantage of the amazing deals over at the Disneyland Resort hotels, definitely check out the Howard Johnson and get yourself 25% off. Of course, link is in our show notes, or you can visit our website, dlweekly.net, and just click on the Howard Johnson logo. The promo code, or the corporate code as they call it when you type in your information, is also listed on our website there, so you can take advantage. I also wanted to shout out, we had a weekly tier actually email in the week after we had first promoted this. I apologize. You're probably going to hear us talk about this awesome offer for quite a while because they never have deals this and discounts this deep. So this is amazing. But we had a weekly tier write in and say thank you because she went in, use that promo code for her next stay, and I think she said saved hundreds of dollars by doing so.
Very
which
cool.
is so awesome. I was so excited about that because we get excited about these deals, so it's amazing to hear when you guys are able to take advantage and get really great savings from it as well.
Pilots, we've detected some producer questions near Jakku. Report to your DL Weekly vessels and make the jump to hyperspace. The 7-7 Squadron will provide support during your trivia mission. Good luck, and may the Force be with you.
Welcome to TriviaLand, where Teresa, by herself, with no tag dragging her down.
I mean, Boosty, we help each other. We help each other quite a bit.
I know, I just get to tease him because he's not here. Teresa is going to take on some wonderful listener-submitted questions. Teresa, how are you feeling?
I was before you got all negative Nancy about tag. I was saying I'm a little nervous being here by myself, but we'll see how it goes.
I wasn't naked. I just tease him. Okay.
You're just jealous that he's in Disneyland and you're not.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
A skosh, yes. All right. Well, let's see how it goes. Your first listener-submitted question from listener Dylan W. In 1956, the Disneyland Railroad received Fantasyland Station, but in 1965 it was removed and later replaced by Videopolis Station in 1985. Why did Disney remove the original station?
It was added in 56?
It was added in 56. They put in the Fantasyland Station, but 9 years later in 65, they removed the Fantasyland Station, and then they replaced it 20 years later in 85 with the Videopolis Station.
I'm going to say it because of putting in It's a Small World.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. Because, 64, 65 World's Fair. So I'm going to say they had to redo things because of It's a Small World was being added to the parks.
All right. Your second listener-submitted question from listener Daniel C. What phone number is printed on the side of each taxi in Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's got to be... It's cutesy, for sure. 1-800 ice cream. And that's not just because I want ice cream right now.
Oh, okay. And is that I-scream? Like
Sure.
the letter I dash
Sure.
scream?
Yeah.
Okay. Just for confirmation
Oh,
purposes.
the Y. Is it an EY? It is ice cream, but now I'm going to be caught on the technicality.
I am curious. Curious minds need to know. That's all.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm super curious about this one, though.
Your third listener submitted question from listener Ryan J. In the rush to get Disneyland ready to open, they did not have enough time to make proper character costumes. They did, however, have costumed characters on opening day. Where did those costumes come from?
It was something, I don't know if it was like called Disney on Ice, but it was some sort of like figure skating thing.
Some sort of figure skating thing.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it was called like Disney on Ice, but it was something in that vein.
So that's your final answer?
Yes.
Some sort of figure skating thing?
Like a
Like a capade on ice?
yes, a Disney-fied capade. The ice capades with Disney. The Disney, it's something like that. Yeah, the ice capades themed to Disney.
Okay.
I don't know what the official name was, but it was from ice skating costumes, or they were ice skating costumes.
Final answer.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's not a really good answer. Not very specific,
All right.
but we're going with it.
Excellent. And your fourth and final regular round question, this one coming from listener Paige N. What was the original entrance price to Disneyland on the opening day, both adults and
my
kids?
goodness. You guys want to know what's hilarious about this? I don't know what. Oh, we were downstairs talking about something, and Vern's like, did you know with inflation, with like the way if ticket prices would have like kept up with just what inflation was, tickets should be only this amount to get into Disneyland? And I looked and I said, yeah, wasn't it like $1 or something? And he looked at me funny. And I was like, oh no. All I thought was, oh no, I just gave him a thing for a trivia question. Little did I know. No, the whole reason that came up in general is because it is a trivia question. So I'm going to stick with my answer that I told you earlier. And I think it was $1.
Okay, but the question is adults and kids.
Like 2 different prices?
The question says opening day price for both adults and kids.
So you're looking for 2 prices?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to say adults were $1
Mm-hmm.
and children were, either like 50 or 75 cents. I'm going to say 75 cents. I'm going to get my Disneyland fan card taken away because I'm not very confident in this answer and I should know it.
So $1.75. Final answers?
Yes.
Okay. And your bonus question. This one also coming from listener Paige N. What are the names of the 3 hitchhiking ghosts who try to catch a ride out of the haunted mansion?
Ezra.
Uh-huh.
Phineas.
Uh-huh.
And Gus.
And is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Alrighty. Well, listeners, how do you think Teresa did? Do you think Tag should have helped her out, or do you think she did fine just on her own? If you stick around until after the discussion, we can all find out together.
Well, for this week's discussion topic, we are continuing our conversation with Les about his adventures at the Walt Disney World Resort. So after you spent your time on the front lines of guest relations and kind of being on the other side of the desk, what was your next transition? Was it into just like tours, or did you go right into VIP tours, or kind of how'd you take that next step? Because not everyone in guest relations is also able to be a tour guide.
Right. And that is a preference too, because, a lot of people don't want to be in VIP tours because that'll take up a lot of your time. Because you can be, back in my day, it was up to like 12, 14, 15 hours, sometimes 18 hours.
Yeah.
But now they have a limit of 10 hours now and things have changed. But back in the day, you had to be ready for it. And then you had to audition. When I first auditioned, because back then you had to be in guest relations to audition to be a tour guide.
Sure,
you can't be someone that's from merchandise and resorts, but now you can. But back then I had to audition there was a flyer that says, if you're interested in being a tour guide, please let us know. And a lot of us wanted to be tour guides because we wanted the celebrities and the fame and the glamour and, but that's not, that's not what VIP Tours is. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of being a people person and having to come up with conversations and why is a person willing to spend $300 to $500 an hour on you? Like, what makes you different from anyone else? Like, what do you bring to the table? So my first time auditioning, I didn't get it. They always say, you're so close, but you didn't get it. But I kind of worked hard at it, like the feedback, and I worked at it, and I started an audition, and I kind of, and I felt I did well, and then they got me into VIP Tours. And as a tour guide, you have to know everything inside out, the airports, the resorts, Orlando, everything, the Disney parks around the world. And then from then on, I had to, the questions were tough too. And as a VIP tour guide, they asked you questions like, what if a celebrity asked you this? How would you handle this? Or what if mom and dad brought their family and their friends with you? And then now you have like 2 5-year-olds and an 8-year-old and a teenager and all this. And how would you handle that? I'm like, so all these questions, you're like, had to come up with scenarios. And then like, I took it upon myself to learn the parks, to read books about Disney. Back then there was no YouTube, so I had to like read the Disney encyclopedias and the Disney Imagineering books, all those things, and talk to people and their experiences. And I took that and I built that knowledge as a Disney VIP tour guide. And from then on, like as a tour guide, you have to learn how to turn things on and off. Like you have to learn when not to speak. Like if a person doesn't want to speak, they just want to go on the rides, then you have to read the room and say, okay, well, I'm just gonna not talk, but only when you talk to me. Like celebrities, there's some celebrities that would say, I don't want you to, you can't talk to them directly. You have to talk to the reps.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So you have to read the room. And then as tour guides, I had to keep up with the celebrity gossips because I never wanted to say something that would say the wrong thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like I would never want to bring up something about someone like, hey, so remember that when I had Christina Aguilera on tour, I knew not to ask her about the national anthem because that's the year that she flubbed it. So all these little things, or about their marriage, like, like, oh, they just got divorced. So you're never going to ask them. So how was so-and-so? I'm like, oh yeah, we got divorced last week. Right. So we had to keep up on our celebrity gossips and all these things. So being a tour guide is more than just Disney facts and stories. It's all about reading the guests' backgrounds and, all these other things.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
So when you have a tour that's going to be with a celebrity, do you kind of get like a briefing or something ahead of time to kind of prepare, especially when you have like some of these mega superstars? Do they kind of, I don't know, have like a session with you before the tour starts? Or do you sometimes walk into the tour knowing that you're going to have a celebrity, but maybe not who it is because they're trying to keep it under wraps? How does that kind of work on that side?
That's a very good question. There's sometimes when it's spontaneous, where the celebrity just comes in and without talent relations knowing. But there's times when I had to be briefed like a week prior, and sometimes the department has certain tour guides they trust more than others.
Sure. Yeah.
Due to experience, due to how you react to things, how experienced you are to navigate the parks. And so, there's times when I had to be briefed, like when I had Michael Jackson's kids on tour, like, for the first time, I had to be briefed by their security of how they had to handle themselves, how they're very private. And then like, when you had a celebrity on tour that was very high profile, when your office called you or paid you and says, we need to talk to you, this is very confidential, so that's when I was like, ooh, what am I going to get? But then there's also through word of mouth. We have a guide comment form that we had to fill out. And that's a guide comment form that after we finish a VIP tour, we have to write comments about what we did, what dining we did, how do we pick them up, how were they as a person. And sometimes we would write things about this person was very mean to cast members or this person, so we had notes. So we would look at the notes. Sometimes I don't want to look at the notes because I don't want to be scared.
Well, and maybe it was, they're having a bad time in their life or an off day or, whatever. So maybe.
Teresa, you nailed it. You nailed it because, you want to, I see it for myself because there's so many times when people say, beware of this celebrity, beware of this celebrity. And I was like, they're fine. I love them.
Yeah.
But in that sense, we had to prepare ourselves. And sometimes we have to like prepare ourselves with, like how to arrange ourselves with the, where to meet them, to meet the bodyguard first. We meet this. So it's quite a process. And celebrities, sometimes, in advance you'll get them because they're doing a publicity for Disney.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, when we do them a favor, when they do us a favor, we do them a favor. So like talent relations would book, like say, I'm making this up, but if they brought Taylor Swift in there, of course, Taylor Swift is not going to pay a dime for a tour guide or accommodations because she's doing us a favor, because that one shot of her in front of the castle, that's going to be on Us Weekly and People Magazine. That's going to be gold to Disney. So that's self-promotion. So if we invite them to do a 2-second shot, that's like their vacation is paid for.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, versus, someone that comes in at the streets, they would pay for a tour guide because they're paying for our service. I remember one time I had Shaquille O'Neal, and I just finished a VIP tour with ESPN the weekend, and they're like, hey, we have celebrities who we need you because sometimes it's last minute. Sometimes we're desperate for a tour guide. We need someone. So you're available. So I said, yeah, who is it? And they're like, Shaquille O'Neal. He'll meet you in the guest relations at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So, because I guess when he lives in Orlando, but his daughter back a couple years ago, the daughter wanted to go to the zoo. So he took him to Disney's Animal Kingdom. And so I saw this like 7-foot man waiting for me in the lobby. And I thought it was the funniest thing. Oh, that's Shaq. Yeah. So sometimes it's like a last minute notice.
Did you find that it was difficult when you had like some high profile? I mean, like Shaq, like he's going to stand out. Like he literally is going to stand above everybody else. How did you deal with the fact that people would want to approach them? And, we were in the park one time and not a huge celebrity, but the kid that played the main character on the Goldbergs was like over by It's a Small World and was just like sitting there hanging out with the tour guide and a couple people or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's the kid from the Goldbergs or whatever. But I knew like, don't go up and bother them because like they're trying to have a good day or whatever. But I know that a lot of people can't contain themselves and want to. So how do you deal with that?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because a friend of mine texted me the other day and she goes, hey, just out of curiosity, I saw a girl from this TV show. No, Jeremy Jordan. I saw Jeremy Jordan, who's a singer, and my daughter asked for his autograph, but the tour guide looked and I asked for a selfie and the celebrity gave it to me. But then as I walked away, I heard the tour guide went up to him and say, I'm so sorry. And she said, did I do something wrong? I'm like, no, it's like when we meet a celebrity, we have to ask them first and foremost, or even their publicist, how do you want us to handle fans?
Yeah.
Are they okay with coming up with autographs? Or you want me to be the bad guy? Most times they're going to be like, no, I don't mind it at all, but sometimes they might say, no, I don't want, but if you don't mind telling them not to. But sometimes, sometimes they go behind our back without because what if I'm like getting churros for the celebrities hanging out? So I'm not with them 24/7. So if you come up to them, ask for a picture autograph, they're not going to say no because they want to be nice.
Yeah.
But then the celebrity understands that, that's what it is. But I had 2 basketball players. I'm not going to say their names, but they were on the parks and I had to be the bad guy because they did not want anyone to take pictures of them or anything. And they even made it known to their fans. They're like, no, I don't want autograph. No, so, but I have, what's that?
Well, and you can respect that because, right, they're on vacation. So they're trying they're trying to enjoy their time and kind of have a sense of normalcy and just have fun. So I could imagine, having that continuously interrupted as much as everyone loves their fans, you kind of have to take some space sometimes. So we can totally respect that. Yeah.
But there's a lot of celebrities who love their fans. Like I had Jodie Benson. Jodie Benson's she's a dear friend of mine, actually. Her and I are very close now. Actually, my husband and I and her, and her family, we're family now because I've been her tour guide for 10 years. And and after my Disney program, and we still kept in touch. I went to Jodie's son's wedding, and I went to their cousin's wedding. So we just love Jodie, and she's always loves people. She loves fans. She loves when people come up to her because she just loves people in general. So her and like Mercy Me, Bart Millard, who I love as well. He sings I Can Only Imagine.
Yeah.
He just loves people. I love him and his family. There's some celebrities I still keep in touch with because we just formed a friendship and a bond that is just amazing. Yeah, but for the most part, they just love. Some people love their job and they love. But it's so funny. You can always tell when a celebrity's at an attraction because every cast member and their mother will be by us pretending they're working, and I'm like, "Where were you 10 minutes ago?" Like I remember when I was at I was with David Archuleta. I was on a safari ride at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I could see like 20 cast members pretending they're doing something on the ride itself. Like, and they're like slowly looking. I'm like, you know, or when I was with Christina Aguilera at Fantasyland, and you can see like every manager and every cast member pretending they're doing something. You know, like people are vacuuming the concrete, pretending
I'm like, I think there might be some trash over here, but I can't really find it.
Maybe some scrub, some trash. Right. So that's so funny because there's word of mouth like, hey, Mariah Carey's here, you know. But the attractions though, as tour guides, we have to tell the attractions that depending how big the celebrity is, I would have to like call the attractions and I'm like, hey, I just want a coordinator with me, because the coordinator from the attractions would walk me to different backstage areas so that we can get access to Space Mountain. Or otherwise, I would have to call individual attractions and say, hey, we're coming through the back way, just so that they don't get blindsided by it. And we also want to let them know that, hey, can you turn off the photos? So if Tower of Terror, if Scarlett Johansson was on it, we would be like, can you turn it off, please? Because we don't want someone buying it and then selling it to TMZ or keeping it for themselves. So there are times when I had to blank out the screen because the high-profile celebrity didn't want their pictures exposed on there as well. But then there's someone that didn't care. There's some that are totally...
in that situation, like Scarlett Johansson, like, is she riding with her family in an empty, like, because, like, I feel like that kind of be sucky. Like, you just happen to be on. It's like, well, I wanted that photo, and because Scarlett Johansson was on it, now I don't have the opportunity. Now
everyone knows if your photo is mysteriously missing, it's because there was some famous person there with you.
that or an obscene gesture that someone made.
We're gonna go with there was a famous person.
What's funny is Teresa and I will walk by. We could walk by tons of celebrities, and we'd have no idea who any of them were.
Yep.
Yeah. Me neither. Like on an airplane as a flight attendant, I see celebrities. I'm like, I don't know who they are, unless I see the manifest. I'm like, oh, that's that person.
See the name,
yeah. Unless it's someone like very famous, like Taylor Swift or like Oprah Winfrey, I would not know. Even when I had Michael Jackson's kids, I had them like 3 different years. I would walk around them in the Magic Kingdom, and as they got older, like we just blended in with the crowd. We would like sit in front of the castle and like just hanging out. Someone sitting next to Blanket, and they wouldn't even know who that is.
Yeah.
So like little do you know that there's a celebrity next to you. Something that was funny was, do you remember American Idol, the experience? At Disney's Hollywood Studios, where you got to perform, right, as an American Idol contestant, and you would audition for that day, for that show, and every winner for each show would compete for the grand prize at the end of the night, and people would vote in their seats. So and they would always say who their favorite American Idol was. Well, when I had David Archuleta, he wanted to see the American Idol experience. So I snuck him backstage back into the seats in the last row. It was very dark, and he's very shy. He is very shy. When he was like 16, he was like very shy, and so he didn't want to be in the spotlight, which is kind of ironic because he is. So we're sitting there watching, and then this boy performed, and after the boy performed, the host asked who his favorite American Idol was, and he goes, "It's David Archuleta." David just jumped out of his seat and ran out the exit because he thought that it was a setup and that he was going to go on stage. So I had to chase David. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. No, don't worry. They're not going to call you. They didn't even know you're in there.
Yeah.
So we went back in. But I'm like, to this day, this boy who sang his song, not knowing his favorite American Idol was in the audience watching him perform. I thought that was hilarious.
I'll bet you that kid probably would have like died knowing that he was in the same room
right now. Yeah, right. If you're listening to this and he's there, like, you know what? That'd be funny. But we had very interesting situations like that before. But that's what we try to be inconspicuous as much as possible when we have like a celebrity on tour. We even have to let the parks know, hey, there's a celebrity going to be in this park now, or Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes are going to be in this section. My friend Maureen had it. She was we call it the A-list tour guide because she would have all the big A-listers. She would always have like the hard job of trying to like hide them. So
that could be like a safety issue though. Like they have to know,
that was
because
another thing I had.
They're not, and you know what? They're not cutting in lines because there's special treatment. It's because of safety.
Yeah, because that's one thing. Because I've seen things with, I think it was maybe like a photo of the Kardashians on the teacups or whatever, and they were the only people on the attraction, which is a little awkward with an attraction like the teacups because everybody can see that there's only one group on this attraction while everyone's waiting. But it's a safety issue because like we were talking about before, fans get very excited when they see their favorite celebrities and they, you already have what we call Disney brain, where you're maybe not thinking straight because you're at a Disney park.
Disney brain. Yeah.
And so then you also kind of combine that with being excited about seeing a celebrity. You're not going to think about the teacups are on this turntable and no, do not jump out of your teacup to go run over and, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's, it can be a safety issue too.
Oh my gosh, 100%. Yeah. And we even have Disney security with us, like undercover Disney security that wear like plain clothes, but we have securities walking with us in case that there's any Disney fans that are very passionate about them.
Yes. Kind of along with that, we know from just what we hear and see that sometimes celebrities kind of experience Disney parks differently than the regular guests because they're not necessarily walking on stage from attraction to attraction to attraction. Sometimes it's all kind of more backstage parts.
Yeah.
So is that something that Disney kind of plans ahead for? And they kind of say to the guests like, hey, we're going to do it this way because we know that you're, basically like the A-list celebrities, that's just what you're doing? Or is it on the celebrity to choose if they want to be, how they want to do it?
It's more the ambassador, like the tour guides have that conversation with them. Like our office will say, this is your celebrity and you will have so-and-so as your Disney security with you. And then they'll trust us with our instincts and our knowledge how to handle that because we know the backstage shortcuts, how to get them in and out quickly. So we know how to handle that part of it. And, there's some that don't want to be seen at all and some that want to, or there's some that come late at night when it's dark. So it's hard to see. Mm-hmm. So, we have those situations too, where it's in a case-to-case situation, but they really put the trust in us tour guides because we know how to handle ourselves. And the ones that are very experienced will know, right, like when to go and how to handle them in a professional manner without being rude to guests because that's not the way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's all not planned at all. We plan it as we go along.
Gotcha. Because I always feel a little sad because Disney parks are so magical and like there's so many details and it's so incredible. So I always feel a little sad for like celebrities that have to experience it not as it was designed and intended. And it's again for safety reasons or just for privacy reasons for them. So I always wondered if that was, how that was handled, if that was kind of by their choice or if it was just, feel it out as you go.
Right. No, you know what's so funny that my 23 years there, I've never had a celebrity that I knew of that would 100% don't want to be on stage. Like there was maybe a couple of celebrities that would just be there for like 3 hours because a lot of times the musicians would go to Disney because there was a concert that was playing in Orlando.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So they want to just go there and but for the most part, like we would walk around. Like when I had Rihanna, I would like walk around the parks with her and her band. And they could care less if people see them. They don't really care. I mean, you know what? Honestly, because it's not like Disneyland. Disney World, there's no paparazzis. There's just like fans who
That's true.
And then when they go there, they don't go there in mind saying, "Ooh, there's celebrities." Mm-hmm. Versus when you go to Disneyland, you're like, "Ooh, which celebrities?"
Yeah, no, that's very true.
So their mindset at Disney World is they're just there to have fun. If there's a celebrity, oh, that's cool. But for the most part, a lot of the celebrities love to go to Disney World because it's not as paparazzi infested as it is at Disneyland. So that helps a lot.
Did you find the celebrities that you did tour around? Did you find that? And I'm sure I know the answer to this, but I feel like I just want to put it out there so it's on the record.
Yeah.
Did you find that most of them were just like normal people who like were super appreciative and nice and just like anybody else? And, they're probably really happy that you're there to help them and kind of feel silly that like they can't just do it themselves sometimes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I 100%. Yes. And just as, obviously they're very normal. Like, when I'm driving with them in the back, I can hear them gossiping about other celebrities. It's pretty funny. but like there's like people like Jodie Benson who would be like, "Hey, do you want me to reserve the whole Tower of Terror for you?" He goes, No. Put everyone in there. Like she's very persistent that we be normal. Like, and sometimes normal means me walking 10 steps ahead of them so I don't draw attention. Because when you see someone in plaid, do you automatically look to see who they're with? Sometimes you do that. I mean,
I try to just because I'm so bad at knowing who celebrities are.
Yeah.
But then there's sometimes we're like, who do you have? Even the cast members would be like, so who do you have? I'm like, just some wealthy people.
Well, and it's tough because I think, I want to hear that too, but like, I feel like at Disneyland, especially lately, Teresa and I have noticed this, that there are tons of VIP tours. And most of it, I think, is just people that can afford to do it, and they want to like skip all the lines and just they just want to pack in and have like this amazing pixie dust Disney VIP day.
They just want to maximize their time within an 8-hour period, right? Yeah. So most of the times of that, most of the times it's just families that want to hire a tour guide. It's from word of mouth. Yeah. So it's not like every celebrity has. Some celebrities don't even have tour guides. Like some of them just go on their own. You know, I know there's times when I've seen celebrities that are just walking by themselves, you know, but not being bothered at all. So it's not automatically that. I think it was the case before that, where it was like prestigious that you had a tour guide. But I think I'm like, yeah, that's now. But a lot of people like the tours, but some people are like, no, I'm just gonna buy some. What do they call it? Express passes? I don't even know
the lightning lanes.
Yeah, the lightning. Oh my god, it's been a year and a half, and I forget everything now.
That's okay. It's changed a couple of times too.
Yes,
it is changed. Oh my god, it changed a lot. You know what? I still love those Disney stories, and I still tell my favorite Disney stories to like to the tours and everything, because I used to facilitate a tour called Backstage Magic, and so I incorporated.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was fun. That was like an 8-hour tour. Wow. That was like the longest tour of Backstage tour, right? And have you heard of that before?
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool. It was sponsored by Adventures by Disney before it was from Disney Institute. And so we have an 8-hour tour, and you had to audition for this tour as a tour guide. But anyway, you would take the tour of the laundry facility. We had the tour of the backstage of Epcot and of American Adventure, which is this show at Epcot. And then we would take them down the Utilidor. And we would take them to lunch so we had like a whole day. We even took them to Central Shops where they make those ride vehicles and things, and then we would take them to creative costuming, where they make those fancy clothes for the characters.
Wow.
So and
now I'm like irritated because I have been saying on this podcast forever that if Disney did a behind the scenes tour, I would be all about it, and I think it would be popular. And now to hear that they did at Disney World.
And you missed it.
And I missed it. I am like so frustrated because I would love to have a tour of the backstage stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm just one of the nerd people that like, it's not going to ruin the magic for me because I just want to know how it all works. Like, I'll appreciate it that much more. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's so funny because a lot of people are like you. It was always sold out, and people want to be fascinated with it without ruining the magic. So we've, and we're trained to learn to do so much, not to give away some of the secrets, but to give away some that were, oh my gosh, wow, really? So yeah, I'm sad that you did, because before COVID, I was a tour guide for them, and obviously they stopped it after that. But I would do it once a week. I think it would be 3 days a week it would be offered, but then it would be like 9 hours or 10 hours. And I would give my Disney knowledge and my stories and also those secrets about how much laundry we do a day. And, there's 4 laundry facilities. I'm glad, Tage, that you and I are friends now, that you can ask me as many questions as you want. Even off podcast, you can ask me anything you want, because I've learned so much. I know the ins and outs of Disney so much that it's so cool. Even to this day, I'm like, wow, I can't believe they actually did that.
But you can't take me backstage now. I can't see it with my own eyes.
You'll just have to live through. Yeah. You'll just have to live through Les's stories.
Yes. Or you know what? Hopefully they'll bring it back one day. But maybe if you write to Adventures by Disney, you can say, hey, can you bring back this backstage magic tour? Because I loved giving stories of like secrets. Even, before we went inside creative costuming, or even Central Shops, we would have to let the receptionist know that, hey, we're here. So that way they can kind of like secretly tell people, hide your stuff, hide things you don't want them to see. When I went to creative costuming, I would see like a Spider-Man costume. I saw Doctor Strange. It was so funny. One time we went to creative costuming, and it was during Halloween, and we went to creative costuming, and we saw Doctor Strange walking around, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's Doctor Strange. That's so cool. And then when we got back on the bus, the guest was asking, so Doctor Strange is going to be a character at Disney World? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I learned that it was a cast member, that it was Halloween and they had a costuming contest. So they made their own So it looks so real, though.
Epic Halloween costume contest.
It would. It's so funny. But then, but when you go to Central Shops, they would close the black curtains on things like, we had back then, before Rise of the Resistance, we had to hide the stormtroopers.
Sure,
We had to hide color in, so we had to hide those animatronics so that they can't see any of those things. So it was pretty neat. Like, yeah, Tage, I wish you could see those things. It's pretty neat.
I mean, we got a great opportunity because we have a friend who works at Disney, and he invited us down, and we actually got on the Imagineering campus. Like, we didn't go into any of the buildings or anything. We went to the little shop, and we were kind of on, they got some old ride vehicles and stuff that was really cool. But like, man, I was like, oh, that's so cool just to be here. Like, where all this stuff that we love so much is created. And
I remember we got all excited because we recognized a building from one of the like behind the scenes with Walt when they were like bringing out the dinosaurs that are now, of course, in the Disneyland Railroad train, the diorama. So like Tag's like, that's the building, that's the door. And then he recognized that. So we're just nerds about all that kind of stuff. One thing you mentioned about the behind the scenes tour that like really like made my brain go. You talked about the American, forgive me, American this Adventure. Is a Disneyland podcast. Yeah, the American Adventure. That show has blown my, I have to go every time I'm in Epcot. I need to go see it because that show blows my mind. I do not understand how all of these like figures and animatronics and sets just keep popping up out of nowhere. As soon as you think there can't possibly be more, somehow there is. So like that would have been such a cool thing to kind of go a little bit behind the scenes on, because that's just has to be this crazy marvel of how they do all of that.
You want to know some of the secrets?
Yes.
Some of the secrets of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So like so that story is actually 5 stories tall. And when they built that, the Imagineers were like, how are we going to make this 5-story structure look like 2 stories, because we don't want to overshadow the other countries, because the pavilions all are almost the same level. And then initially they were going to make the American Pavilion in the front between Canada and Mexico, because Canada was in the north and Mexico was in the south. So it's fitting that America was in the middle. But then they thought that, if they had this big structure obstructing World Showcase, people were just going to go there and they're going to block the view of everything else. So they decided to make it all the way in the back. And it's kind of like the weenie that Walt Disney coined. You know the term weenie? Yeah. They wanted the weenie so that people would go closer and closer to America. And you notice that the front of American Adventure, for those who don't know about it, it's 5 stories turned into 2. So we have things that are giants, like giant lamps, like giant doors, giant windows, to look like it's 2 stories, which is it's 5 stories. But when you go backstage downstairs, you're going downstairs under the stage. Under the stage, there's magic elevator. It's called magic trains. And there's imagine little boxes, and there's 12 boxes on the ground and 12 on the other sides of the stage. And these boxes are all dressed up with animatronics in each box with clothes and scenes. But it moves so soft, you cannot hear it when it moves in between takes. So during a show, they move like elevators that go sideways and backwards. And while you're sitting there on the seats watching the show, they're underneath you too. The stages are underneath you. They're moving underneath. There's boxes under you that move forward, backwards.
Yeah.
So that's why when you go into the attraction, you walk to the main entrance and you have to go up the escalator to go to the theater. Because the boxes are in the first floor. So so you're watching the scenes. It's like it's going up and then sideways and then down and up. Yeah, it's really cool.
To be able to sit in that room and watch all of those things move. Oh my God. Fascinating.
Yeah. And you can watch it on YouTube too. So if anyone who can't go to Disney World,
there you go. It's crazy though, because you're just watching the stage and there's an entire horse. There's the top of the Statue of Liberty, all of it. And you're like, where are they fitting all of these things?
I know. People always think that. But when they learn that it's like those magic theaters, they're like, whoa. And they get to see it. So, they see it. And it's like, man, this is amazing. And we would see it. Sometimes we see it while they're practicing. Yeah. And then we can see so I wish you could see that. That's pretty cool.
That's wild.
I did
absolutely wild.
Do a search on YouTube for how the American Adventure works Epcot. And
I'm sure there's many people
there's a really, really old 1987 video called Backstage Disney, the American Adventure. And I'm like, I wonder if this is going to show it. So I'll have to look at this.
What did you say, 1987?
1987.
87.
You know when you say 1987, they still use the technology from the 80s to run the computers, because there's giant computers during the 80s. They didn't change it. So the technology for the computer system runs the same.
You know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, it's true.
100%.
Obviously, it's working. Wow.
100%. Yeah. So
incredible.
Yeah. I'm glad I get to share all these like cool things about, yeah. I mean, I have like other things too. I mean, but I don't want to like, keep on going with that. But I also like, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, what is the coolest thing that you can share with our listeners that you know from working at Disney that like doesn't get you in trouble?
Okay, so this is pretty cool. You remember that Britney Spears thing with that photo that I told you about? This is another groundbreaking one, but maybe not to you all, but to me it was, because I had Tia Carrere on tour from Wayne's World. She was also the voice of Nani from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I had her during the press event and from Hawaii, so I requested her. And it's so funny because I met her a week ago prior because she was a friend of my friend's. And so I met her in Hawaii and I said, when you come to Disney World, ask for me. So Tia requested me. And then, so we had a long press event with Lilo and Stitch. That was 2001, when it got really popular with Lilo and Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was with her for the press event. And the day before that, I met Davi Chase, who was the voice of Lilo. That day when Tia was doing something else, I met Davi and her mom and we were talking and she's so sweet. And then that night, we had a big press event party over at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. And Roy E. Disney was there with Michael Eisner. So I got to I got to meet them and I got to shake their hands. Yeah, that was cool. See, I got to shake Roy E. Disney's hand at the Disney Animation Studio too. That was pretty cool. But anyway, we were at the party and I was with Tia and her PR and we were just hanging out because it was raining. So it was underneath the tent. And she goes, "Who's that little girl there?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's your sister, Lilo. She's the voice of Lilo." And she goes, "Oh, that's Davi Chase?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you want to meet her?" So I pulled Tia over to Davi and I said, "Hey, look, this is your sister from the show." Because, when they recorded the cartoon, they recorded it from two different coasts.
Yeah, that's
I think
cool.
Davi was in New York. And then, so when you're watching the movie Lilo and Stitch, they're recording, they never met. They're just recording.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I kind of said, I introduced Lilo to Nani.
I know we have a lot of Lilo and Stitch fans that listen to the show for sure. So they're going to think that that's pretty awesome, actually.
Oh, good.
And you know what's crazy is that something that you would have never, like, I never would have thought that those two had met. And the fact that they just kind of met by chance after the fact.
Right. I mean, Andy Mack would probably know this about voiceovers. Like, you don't have to be in the same room to record, right? So it's so cool. And then, like, during the whole event, it was just so much fun because, I got to watch Lilo and Stitch 3 times before the world saw it. But there was one time we had it at AMC theaters where Michael Eisner did this presentation with Roy E. And we wanted all the celebrities there. It had, Winona Judd was there and everyone, all the voice characters. And we had to go to AMC. There was a red carpet event. So we got to go in there, watch the movie. But Tia was like, "I've seen this so many times." She goes, I'm gonna, you know what? I want to show face. So I definitely want to go there. I want to let Michael Eisner know I'm here and Roy. So we were all there getting our popcorn, sitting in our seats. And, they did their speech. And then we were there sitting next to Tia. And then after they did the presentation, the introduction came on to Lilo and Stitch. And then Tia says, "Okay, let's go. So we all left and we went shopping at the Orlando Premium Outlets.
What a job, awesome. Right? Like, I got to go hang out and shop at the Orlando Premium Outlets.
With Tia Carrere, I know. What a job for me. Yeah. As a tour guide, I did it all. I got to watch AMC movies with, like, tours, watching Spider-Man and getting paid for it, all that stuff. So, yeah, sometimes when you work at Disney, you're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. So if you want to be a Disney cast member, highly recommend you be a cast member.
So let's transition because you also talked about how you worked and did like some training focused stuff too. So let's kind of talk about your time doing that.
Oh yeah. So I did training. I also was a facilitator for On With the Show, which was for new cast members coming into Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I was a traditions facilitator and also did facilitated guest relations at Disney University. So those are all pretty cool. You learn so much as a trainer because you get to teach people about things, but yet you learn things about people and then you just bounce them back and forth with each other. But yeah, was there anything specific as training that you wanted to?
Yeah. So was that your sole focus or was that kind of in addition to also doing tours?
In addition. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of the roles at Disney, so there's a full-time job, which was guest relations. And then there was like a part-time, which was guest relations, was a tour guide. So we call it TAs, which is called temporary assignments. So we had if you did additionals, that would be called a TA. which was temporary. So I did like, or they call it cross utilization.
Mm-hmm.
So they utilize me, they kind of crisscross. So I cross utilized for on with the show as a facilitator. So my scheduler would schedule me on with the show like twice a week or so. And then we had another scheduler that would schedule me backstage magic. And then I have another scheduler that would schedule me. So it's kind of like an administrative assistant that would kind of like dictate my job every week. That's pretty cool. You know, sometimes it's exhausting because sometimes I would facilitate traditions like 2 days in a row, and then I would be on tour, and then I did this. So it was never a boring moment at Disney for me as a cast member.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, you get what you give or you put out. So, you know, I put out a lot at Disney. So I poured my heart into it. And you know what? Every day I looked forward to work no matter what. Every day was like a blessing to me. It was so fun, you know, but yeah.
You are exuding the same energy. So there is a very famous, you might have heard of him. There's a very famous kind of internet famous guest relations cast member at Disneyland named Philander. He's got a huge Instagram following, and he does a ton of like Imagineering Monday, and he always does these really deep dives. Like, he's so knowledgeable. And what's crazy is the energy you have right now is very similar to the energy he has.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like the best people in the roles that you guys do or did, like have that in common, because like you love it. Like you never had a bad day. You always look forward to it. You love doing things.
Yeah.
We like when we talked to him before we talked to him on the podcast, we met him during when Disneyland was closed for COVID. He was just in the Esplanade with like a little trivia board. And we talked to him, and he was just so friendly and awesome. And then
it was such a memorable experience for us. And it was like just this, kind of little chance interaction. So, you remind us very much of him.
Hey, that means a lot. Thank you. You know what? It's like a lot of us cast members, or like for me, myself, like I'm genuine inside out. So I don't turn it off or don't turn. Yeah. It's like, you know, you have your moments when you want to be by yourself. You're like, you don't want to talk, but you know, like, for the most part, even when I transitioned as a flight attendant for a major airline company, like I bring my Disney magic into the air as well. Like, you know, and I have to learn to turn it off, because learning that the outside world is not the same as Disney parks. It's so different. It's like going from private school to public school, because I've always been to private school all my life. And then going to public school, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, there's a world out there where people are not the same as people at Disney. Like, I work with people that are magical, but not intense like Disney magical.
Sure.
Like, so I had to learn to turn it off, especially at 4 a.m. call times where I'm very, you know, when you're in the band and you just want to make conversation, but I'm like, I had to learn that people don't like to talk. So I had to quiet it down.
That's a skill that you probably learned from being a tour guide, because you had to read the room.
That's true.
So
100%. Yes, I had to read the room. But in all my Disney friendliness, I would always I had to know if people want to talk, even on the flights, like my flight attendants or the passengers. I love to bring Disney magic into the skies, you know, with making magic. You know, I even, like the other day, I came up with an idea, because I'm like, you know what? I should have because we have little wings we give, like these pins.
Yeah.
I should put in the back of the wings, first child on the plane day. And so, you know, the first child comes on the plane, I want to give it to them. Hey, you're the first child on the plane. And that's kind of like what we do at Disney, you know, like you're the first guest of the day, you know, like I want to incorporate that. And some people at the outside world are just impressed, like, oh, wow, I never thought about it that way. Or, you know, and another thing I do that I bring Disney magic to is, like, you know, I always pick up the trash that's on the ground on the aisles, because branding is so important, and image is very important to us, that, you know, like you'll see trash on the grounds when people are deplane, but I all the time pick up trash, like every chance I get. You can tell you're on my flight because there's no trash on the ground at all. And then, you know, it's just, I always bring magic. And you know what? It's infectious, because people are like, wow, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to start doing that. Like, there's this thing where I have the manifest on my phone of people's names and where they sit. So as I do service, I call them by their name. I'm like, hey, Teresa, what kind of a beverage would you want? And they get shocked. They're like, but then they're saying, wow, that's very personalized service.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then some people even ask me, they're like, how do you know my name? And then I play along with them. I'm like, you don't remember me? And they're like, no. And I'm like, we went to high school together. And I would do that with people at Disney. They wear their names for like their birthday buttons, and I would call the name out. And I'd be like, hey, Linda. And she's wearing, this older lady's wearing a Linda button. And I'm like, you don't remember me? And she says, no. I'm like, you used to babysit me when I was a kid. And she goes, oh. I'm like, I'm just joking.
I have to. So I love saying happy birthday to people, but I've gotten in the habit that I point at the button because if I don't, sometimes they look at me like I'm an insane person. But I point at the button, so they're like, "Duh, come on, remember you're wearing the button." And Teresa thinks it's funny because, like, I get into it because I'll be like,
he takes offense sometimes. I do, if they don't say
because I say happy birthday, and then like they just like don't acknowledge, and I'm like, well, why are you even wearing the button if you're not going to acknowledge? Or like just married, I'm like, congratulations or whatever. And
they're like, why are they talking to me?
Yeah.
See, people are. But you know what? If you wear a Disney costume, I think you can get away with it more.
Well, yeah,
sure.
Because if I say to a child, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute," and then I'm doing,
you're not
Disney
creepy.
Costume, they're like, "Oh," then I'm not creepy, right? If I'm wearing my flight uniform, I'm not creepy. But if I'm like off the streets, I'm like, "Your kid is so adorable." They're like, so you have to watch your audience. But but you're getting to your Disney adulting, right? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
When you're in the parks and you're getting into it.
Well, you know what I don't understand is like, why can't... So James and I noticed this when we went on a cruise, is because you're on a ship with a bunch of people that are having the same or a similar experience to you, it's easier to talk to strangers, right? Because you're like, you could be like, "Oh, did you go see the show last night? What did you think of?" And like, you can more easily converse with strangers. And we always commented that on ships or, the parks too, that it's so cool that you can just talk to other people that you don't know. And there's not that fear there, where like in day-to-day life, like if you're in the line at the grocery store, like you're not going to talk to the person in front of you about anything. It's like terrifying, like to me, it's even sometimes like if somebody's in the way and I'm trying to get to something, that they're standing in front of, like I'll just sit there quietly. Like I won't even be like, "Excuse me," because I just feel like awkward. But in Disney, at any of the resorts or on the cruise ships or anything, like you're more likely to just talk to people, and I don't know why we can't do that in our normal lives more often.
No, you're 100% right. Because when you're in a Disney bubble, like just the same personality, same things in common with each other. It's a safe zone, and that's why people feel so safe there. Like even with people with disabilities, they feel like cast members treat their disability second and them as a person first.
Yeah.
Because they're just, you can be yourself even on a Disney cruise line. You're like, even at a Disney park around the world, you have the same mentality. So it's a safe zone. You're right. When you're going out to the grocery store, it's like, you don't want to strike up a conversation because they're going to think you're weird. Right? Like, or they're going to think like, why are you bothering me for? Right. So
you never know.
That's why a lot of people love going to Disney, because it just brings the magic of Disney, of the childhood innocence and the love. Even,
you just can't help but feel happy when you're at a Disney park.
It speaks volumes when you wear a Disney shirt as an adult.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about how you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
you're not embarrassed to say, "I love Disney."
And then you've got the dads who go and it's like most expensive vacation ever. Or like or what, like my wife made me come here or whatever. And it's like, come on, get like, I know you're probably trying to be funny, but come on.
It's like very like, come on, you like, don't knock us, don't insult it, right? Just have fun with it. No, that's why I miss Disney, because everyone just, the airlines, like the passengers, you can read the people, and they, when you see people wearing those Mickey t-shirts, like the dads wearing the Mickey shirts, I think, I'm like, did you go to Disney? I'm like, I used to work there, and they just get so happy, and it strikes up conversation. So
Disney, do you ever do the routes to where, like, to Orlando or to Anaheim, and like people are like really, like, a lot of people are going to Disney, right?
Yeah. I would do that, and I say, if you and they get so excited, and I offer them like advice. I'm like, "Hey, if you have any questions about Disney, let me know." And I do have a few times where passengers would pick my brain throughout the flight. They're like,
"That's awesome.
How do I go about doing this?" Or what advice can you give me? So I mean, and that's the thing I love, is that even though I'm not a cast member anymore, I'm still a cast member, and I can still appreciate Disney and what they have to offer. And I still have friends at Disney. I keep in touch with, I think 90% of my friends are from Disney. So, it's one of those things where even though I'm not a cast member anymore, I'm still a cast member.
Well, and it's very much a part of your life still.
And Disney people are the best people. Like every time we interview someone, or I do another podcast where we come and answer questions, like everybody is just everybody's just joyful to be talking about something they love, right?
Oh exactly. It's pixie dusted, right?
There you go.
It's pixie dusted. I just love it. And so, That's why I was very much enjoying this conversation that you invited us, because I just miss talking about Disney. I just miss that part of it.
You ever need to talk about Disney, you now have you're now connected with us. We love talking it.
That means a lot. That's why I feel bad when I have to I feel bad if I'm very long-winded talking to you about Disney.
No, not at all.
Our listeners love when we have long interviews, and they love I think even the nerdy, like just now you were talking about flight attendant stuff that is not really directly,
but it's
Disney.
Related. Yeah.
But people will find that fascinating and find it so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They do, right? Because they find another industry that they can delve into. That's wow, I never thought about it. About flight attendants and their day-to-day operation and what it's like to be that's a story for another day, but it's still cool that you have first-hand knowledge of cast members that actually work for Disney and that knows the behind-the-scenes secrets and how much it takes on a day-to-day operation to make magic for guests no matter what, right? It's a lot of
Walt said, you could build the greatest place, but it takes people to make it happen.
A reality. I agree with you. That's why, and he also said, if you find a job you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life.
That's
so I
true.
believe in that.
That's very true as well. So speaking of which, were there any favorite stories that you had from your times at the park that maybe we have not covered yet? I mean, we could
be here all night.
Pretty amazing things, but are there any other instances that kind of stick out?
One of the other ones that stick out is I had a family for years. They're the Turk family from Canada, and I met them. First time I met them, they had a tour guide that was so amazing to them. They did so much cool things for them that it was hard to fill their shoes. But I took the challenge, and first time was very nerve-wracking, but they're amazing. And you know what? They're the people that are not afraid to spend money at Disney. They would spend money 2-week vacation. They hired me as a tour guide for I calculated close to $80,000 for a 2-week tour with me. Yeah, and plus
so every day was a tour day. Wow.
Oh yeah, 6, 7 in the morning we would meet them. We would have breakfast in Crystal Palace or buffets. We always had buffets in the morning, and then after we stepped out of the buffet, we would go to the nearest ice cream cart or churro cart, and then 2 hours later we had lunch. And then
they were taking the food tour.
Oh yeah, and then we had private dining experiences with Beauty and the Beast on the stage of Beauty and the Beast. We had private dining where me and the family had a 5-course dinner on stage by ourselves with Belle and the Beasts making appearances while we're eating. And then we also had dessert parties with Prince Caspian from Narnia. And then we also had private ratatouille dinners because Disney events. I'm not sure do you know about Disney events?
Tell us about these events.
Yeah.
Okay. If you know what I mean. Okay. This is an event that plans private parties for Disney.
Oh, okay.
If you want a private birthday party in the ballroom where they turn the entire ballroom into the Haunted Mansion, or they turn one of the coolest one was when in Adventureland there's a convention. Now it's Club 33, but it used to be a convention space where I would take this family who's a billionaire and their family. We had a private party at lunch where we walked into this door and we see Peter Pan reading a book to Wendy on a windowsill. It was in the dark. Yeah. It was just a windowsill, right?
Yeah.
And then he was just reading to her. And we walked in and we just watched him saying hey, there's this place called Neverland that you can fly to. And he said, hey, would y'all want to go to Neverland? And we're all 40 of us were yeah. So we all, I know, are we supposed to say no? And then we all jumped in the window till we walked into the window. And that window went to another place where it was all Neverland in the next room.
Wow.
It was long tables with Indian princesses. There was Lost Boys.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Expensive lunch.
Yeah. Wow.
And then and the Disney event group would do cool things like that. They can turn a ballroom into an attraction, or even to there was a family where we had a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs theme. So everything was enchanted forests, and we had apple cups. So that's pretty cool. But and then one of the coolest things was we had a private beach party at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa where we sat in a circle and there was a narrator narrating the Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman. And then all of a sudden, from the far side from the beach, there was a Headless Horseman riding on the horse on the beach, delivering the birthday cake of a pumpkin.
Yeah. That's
so
wild.
Yeah. So Disney Event does a lot of cool things like that. But the Turk family would utilize Disney Event Group to do cool things like that. And so, yeah, and I had them for years and years. And you know what? We became family to the point where I'm going to one of their son's wedding, who's one of my best friends. So, I'm going to his wedding this year. And so it's so cool that you form so much relationships from Disney. I think that's probably the best story, is turning guests into forever families.
Yeah.
And that's, even this morning I texted my friend Sophie. Sophie's Bart's daughter from Mercy Me. And, we just have an ongoing, I miss you, or thinking of you, or David Archuleta's sister and I are like best friends. And so I text her once in a while and I text her, hey, I miss you so much. So, we just formed that bond that will never, ever be broken.
That stuff's really cool. We saw
amazing.
that kind of firsthand because we got, one of our listeners was gracious and they gifted us a VIP tour. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they
nice.
ended it by saying, at the end of your VIP tour, come meet us in Club 33 in the lounge, not the restaurant, the lounge. And like, we'll have
so as if the VIP tour wasn't like the
Right.
most amazing day ever, then we ended it. Yeah.
It was a bucket list check
spending
off
time with
day
them at
for
the
sure.
lounge. Yeah.
It got better and better.
But the cast member who worked in the lounge knew our listener because they're there all the time. And so they're like, oh, you're regular? Or like, here, I know how you like it. Or like, here's the drink you always get. And like, you could just tell that they're, and they were very friendly with each other. So it's kind of like what you're describing. It was cool to like see that firsthand, because us normal folk, like when you go to Indiana Jones, well, there's some exceptions, but in general, when you go to like, let's say Indiana Jones, you're not going to generally see the same cast member every time you go there. So you don't really have, and they're busy, right? Because they're trying to get hundreds and thousands of people through. So you don't have the opportunity to create that. You do in certain circumstances with Disney. Like Teresa just came back from a Disney cruise. On a Disney cruise, you have a ton of time to get to know the people that you see on the cruise and stuff like that. So it's so cool. Like, what an awesome experience.
A 5-minute interaction can turn to a lifelong friendship, right? Teresa, right? Just like meeting someone for like even a minute can turn to forever. Like there's times when I meet I meet people that we became instant friends, and we still keep in touch to this day. Just by that 1-minute interaction.
Well, I think that's something really special just with the Disney community in general, because I'm thinking of different interactions that we've had from different events that we've gone to that has turned into, friendships and folks coming on the podcast like yourself, and then we get to learn even more about you than what we did before. So it's very cool, and it's a very, very special community, the Disney
Thank
community.
you. And you inspire me, because I was gonna start a YouTube channel on like my Disney celebrity stories and stuff, but I'm like, YouTube make me even want to do it more, because I'm like like you know what, just from this interview I'm like, wow, I do have 1,000 stories. like I need to do it on like a weekly basis. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'll have listeners, but I'm sure Disney fans will love to get those stories, right?
There's always the niche stuff like this, and what's crazy is like, I don't think I listen to a few podcasts, and I'm sure that I listen to a lot of like tech podcasts because I'm like a nerd, and I feel like those people have a lot of listeners. They have way more listeners than we do. But our community of listeners are so engaged, and they want to be part of our podcast, and they want to be part of our community. And we've met, Teresa and I have had the most amazing...
That's exactly what it is, Tag.
Yeah.
It's a community.
Yeah.
It's a community.
We go to the park and we meet people, and like, there was one story I love telling. So there's a guy who's a supporter of ours and has listened to the podcast for years. And we were just there. We didn't know he was going to be there. We're sitting there. It was one of the like Disney food events, and we're like eating. And I look up and I'm like, Dave. And he lives like in Seattle. So the fact that like he would just be there, and he's like, oh, hey guys.
Wow.
And then like we hung out, and we had another time with him again. We walked into the park, and he was there with his son. And he's like, do you want to sit down and watch the parade with me? We're like, yeah, of course. Like, I don't know. Just,
I love
so
that.
cool.
It's like lifelong, it's like friends that you feel like you've known for years, and you've been connecting through social media and stuff. That's so cool. It's like a small world, even though it is big. And and then you just, I love that your supporters are your community.
Yeah.
And, and especially in the world right now that we live in, you need happiness, and you need a diversion.
Definitely.
So I feel Disney is the way to go, and the best place to go to get away from reality.
Yeah. Well, Les, I feel like we could talk all night.
Thank you.
And I can smell dinner that is waiting for me. I already told them to eat, so we're not holding anybody up.
Oh,
so
thank you. So sorry. Yeah.
No, that's no
apologies at all.
If I wasn't starving, I would just sit and talk to you all night, and that's fine. Great excuse to have you back on in the future.
Thank you. I would love to continue on the next time.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get an opportunity to talk about?
No, I mean, I've hit the points that I wanted to share, and
Awesome.
obviously there's more, but I'd love to save it for the next time, and
of course,
and I'll save it for my YouTube channel. But
there you go.
I love, but yeah, anytime you would like anything about anything, if you want me again, I would love to tell more stories. But thank you for
you'll have to let us know when the YouTube channel becomes official, so that we'll have you back on so you can kick off your YouTube
you don't have
channel
to do that.
too.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you. That means a lot. But yeah. If you ever need me for anything, like even backstage stuffs or even things that I can share, I would love to tell you about it.
We'll look up your airline when we want to get tickets somewhere and see if you can give us any tips.
I can try to make that happen.
There you go.
Look at that. Well, making magic still.
Connection. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me.
So to wrap up, if you could go and work at, we're going to say Disneyland, since you've spent so much time at Walt Disney World, what would you want to do? Sky's the limit. It can even be a made-up role if you would like.
At Disneyland?
At Disneyland, yep.
Oh, you know what? I would love to be a Disneyland ambassador.
Ooh, I think you exude the energy needed for being an ambassador. Yes.
Thank you. That was my dream at Walt Disney World, and I almost made it. I was in the top 10 one year, but didn't make it that far. So Disneyland would be amazing.
Getting to the top 10 that's quite an accomplishment, because that's a very coveted role that I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands, of people apply for each time.
I'd love to. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for making me feel special.
And we actually had
great about this podcast.
Former Walt Disney World ambassador Christopher on, who was there.
Christopher,
2005, I think.
He was
Christopher White.
Yes, Christopher White. Yep. I love how you knew exactly. Like, I know who the ambassador was.
Oh, yeah, he's one of my friends. I love him.
Christopher White is one of our friends, too. We actually met him, of all places, on Main Street in Marceline, Missouri.
Oh, I love, wow. Yeah, and I think he works there still, right? And I love him, so I'll definitely have to tell him that I did this and met you two wonderful people.
Yeah.
Christopher White.
See, it's a small Disney World.
Yeah. We had a great experience with him. Him and his family came to Disneyland when we happened to be there on one of our trips. And he was there with his sister, who is now like an avid listener as well, and his mom. And his mom, I don't know what I did.
But his son, mom, too.
Yeah, and his son. His mom is like obsessed with me, and I don't know what I did.
She's so sweet.
But
you were nice. You were very nice.
Charming. He's handsome and charming, of course.
There we go.
Oh, you know what? I definitely. Well, you know what? She's an avid listener. I'm gonna start listening to you all. No, because I haven't really gotten to the podcast thing until recently. So yeah, and then I have commutes from here to the airport every single time, which is like 40 minutes. So I love to put on the podcast and listen to you all and keep that Disney magic alive with me.
Well,
I'll send you because Chris was on a couple of episodes a while back, so I'll send you what those episodes numbers are. You could start with those.
Thank you. I would love that. Thank you, Teresa. You all are amazing. But if you need anything else, please let me know.
Yeah, we have 373 back episodes you can go listen to. So
definitely... wow. I got time, right?
Yeah.
I have enough to keep me busy.
Wonderful.
Is there anything else you need from me, or are y'all good?
I think that's good. So, just for the wrap up for the episode, thank you so much, Les, for taking some time out of your day to chat with us and share I'm sure just the tip of the iceberg of your amazing Disney stories over your, 23 years?
23 years experience.
23 years experience at Walt Disney World.
Well, that means a lot, and it's a pleasure, and it's an honor, and I thank you for keeping my Disney magic alive. I appreciate it.
Well, back in episodes 222 and episodes 338, we spoke with our friends Debbie and Steve from Designer Park Co. about their rope drop, park view, and single rider bags, plus many more awesome park products that we use and love. If you've been wanting to get one of these park goer bags for yourself, you can use our promo code DLWeekly to get 10% off your next purchase. Head on over to designerparkco.com.
Woo! Welcome back to TriviaLand, Chef. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Welcome back to TriviaLand, where we are going to find out how Teresa did by herself. Does she need Tag? Does he really help? We will find out now. And Tag, if you're listening, you know I'm teasing and I love you. So, let's see how Teresa did with these listener-submitted questions. Your first listener-submitted question from listener Dylan W. In 1956, the Disneyland Railroad received Fantasyland Station, but in 1965 it was removed and later replaced by Videopolis Station in 1985. Why did Disney remove the original station? You said that it was to make room for the construction of It's a Small World. The correct answer that I was looking for was to make room for the construction of It's a Small World.
Woo!
The original station was give or take exactly where the popcorn cart now stands, where It's a Small World sits.
Oh, wow.
In order to make room for the trains to go through the facade, they had to reroute the track north.
Oh, who knew?
You did.
Well, I didn't know that they had to reroute the track way back. That makes sense, though, but wow. Self high five.
Your second listener submitted question from listener Daniel C. What phone number is printed on the side of each taxi in Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the rescue? You said 1-800 ice-cream? Yep. And that was I-scream.
Yeah, not that it matters.
You personally scream?
Not that it matters.
Well, okay.
Something roar, maybe? No. That was their, name of their... They had, a fraternity.
Oh, yeah. What was the name of their fraternity? I think it was Roar. Yeah, was it ROR? I don't remember now. But I do also have to point out this particular listener, Daniel C. Thank you very much. Daniel said, TriviaLand is clearly the best part of DL Weekly, and it should be half an hour long.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Daniel. We appreciate you. But the correct answer that we were looking for was 555-FANG, F-A-N-G.
Ooh. See, I told you it was clever.
It was clever. And your third regular round question from listener Ryan J. In the rush to get Disneyland ready to open, they did not have enough time to make proper character costumes. They did, however, have costumed characters on opening day. Where did those costumes come from? Your answer that you got around to was something about figure skating on ice, like in a capade of ice, like ice capades. The correct answer that I was looking for was the Ice Capades costumes.
Look at this. So I just did a quick little Google search. Here's a postcard from the 1950 Ice Capades, quote, Disney sequence.
Uh-huh. And yeah, those were those were respectable costumes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney had licensed their characters for use to the Ice Capades, and they ended up having...
Came in handy.
Having to borrow the costumes for the park. Those costumes were designed to be ice skated in, and it explains why many of those very early characters look so strange.
We're going to put a link in the show notes because D23 has an article on it. Look at Pluto used to walk on 4 legs.
Oh.
Yep. There's Pluto on 4 legs.
It's frankly a little scary. The actors inside got a little too close to each other, and Pluto's kind of folded in half.
Yes. I love what they've done with Pluto. He's looking great these days. He was not looking so hot back then. Wow. But they had Pinocchio, the White Rabbit. There's Chip and Dale in the back. There's Dumbo there too. Dang, that is so cool. Yeah, I'll put a link. I'm going to put this link in the show notes for anyone that's curious and wants to see these Ice Capades.
And your fourth and final regular round question from listener Paige N. What was the original entrance price to Disneyland on opening day for both adults and kids? Teresa said $1.75. $1 for adults, 75 cents for kids. The correct answer that I was looking for was $1 for adults.
Well, at least got that.
And 50 cents for the children.
Of course it was. Because I was going back and forth.
And adjusted for inflation, that $1 for adults would now be $11.72. The next time that you are buying your one-day pass, little food for thought.
No, we don't want to think about that. We don't want to think about that.
But also think about how much more park you're getting, how much more total entertainment you're getting. I think we're getting at least 10 times as much entertainment now than we would have gotten in 1955. So, and your bonus question tonight, also from listener Paige N. What are the names of the 3 hitchhiking ghosts who try to catch a ride out of the haunted mansion? Teresa, you said Ezra, Phineas, and Gus. The correct answer that I was looking for was Ezra, Phineas, and Gus.
Ooh,
high five.
High five. Awesome.
Well, listeners, how do you think Teresa did? How did you do listening at home? Do you have those perfect questions that you know that you want to hear on the air? Well, feel free to send those in to us at dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
And a special shout out to our editor, Sidel, for editing this week's podcast.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal podcast companion. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this episode? My scans indicate you have been a good weekly tier. Have a lollipop. Now excuse me while I let out some air. Goodbye.